So, where are you fucking getting this? And so this person, Crushy123, brings up is somehow that because of illegal immigration, our birth rate is 2.0. Okay, where exactly is he getting this fact? Birth rate, that's awfully low birth rate if you understand how birth rate is done. Now, I already pawned this guy on his profile because he commented on mine, and so I just commented back. But of course he deleted it, which is pretty much the whole reason I'm doing this video. Population birth rate is done by per 100,000. So a 2.0 is kind of low. Okay, high is about 40 per 100,000, which Afghanistan did in about 2005. But of course they also have a high death rate. So it all balances out. So obviously, even though he doesn't understand what birth rate is, he's obviously referring to the population growth rate. That is done in percentages. Okay? It is done in percentages. And according to the CIA World Handbook, population growth rate is 1.4 in 2005. That is a decent rate. And I told him that. And he seems to think that I'm fucking stupid. Hello, you're fucking stupid. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because if you're thinking our birth rate is done in 2.0, he didn't give any percentage, it's just birth rate 2.0. Okay, so apparently you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Birth rate is done in, population growth rate is done in percentage. And population growth rate already takes into account of the death rate. So all positive numbers that we get is good. That means that more people are being born and faster than they can die. So any positive number is good. Trust me, you don't want it in double digits. We wouldn't be able to handle that sort of growth. So let's go with Mr. Crushy's number of 2%. And let's just say, let's just assume that's okay. The American population right now is approximately 300 million people. Where would that be at a 2% growth rate, steady, in the next 50 years? What would our population be then in the next 50 years? We will be double the population. We would be nearly 600 million people in the United States at a 2% growth rate. And he's bitching about it's not good enough. You're a fucking moron. You don't know how to do math. Fail. Okay? You fail. Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And of course, I also mentioned that why should we endeavor to have more babies if we can't even take care of the ones that we got right now? And somehow he seems to think that I'm referring to the kids in Africa that have AIDS, and therefore, though they have AIDS, we should not give a fuck about them. You know, that is the most compassionless thing I've ever seen. You know, I'm starting to believe, even though they want to talk about babies, babies, babies all the time, babies, babies, they fucking hate children. They gotta fucking hate children because they want to get them born as quickly as possible, give them the most inept parents as possible, and just let their lives be fucking shitholes for their whole life. So, because I wasn't talking about them, but you know, they still need parents, and they're dying because Africa does not have the medical resources in order to help prevent disease. AIDS is a raving disease, and you can live many years with AIDS, even being born with AIDS. You just have to be very careful about certain things. A flu would fuck you up. Okay, so you need very good medical care to give you a very good quality life. So that isn't an excuse. That is just simply a half-hearted reason to be a compassionless motherfucker like Crushy123. And then he... okay. And then the real people I'm talking about is the people in America, the foster kids in America. If you're not adopted at birth, you're almost pretty much guaranteed to live in foster homes for the rest of your life. You're lucky to be, adopted at 5, even luckier to be adopted at 10, and extremely lucky to be adopted at your teens. You pretty much guaranteed if you make it to your teens, you're going to be there. So you want to bitch at me that we're not having enough kids, even though at the rate that you suggested it would be nearly double in 50 years. And we still can't, have all our kids adopted. You know what? Fuck you. You don't really give a shit about kids because you would actually look at the facts. You don't give a shit about STDs. You don't give a shit about anything. It's that you just hate gays, and you're just finding the shitty little excuses about this. Any excuse you find, you accept it blindly because, David Lynch, said, oh, why didn't homosexuals then in this study live 10 years fewer? The study that I think he was referring to had an obvious bias to it. And it's been proven to be so. And of course, he didn't want to believe that, when I told him that is nothing but, bigotry propaganda. He didn't want to believe that. No. These sorts of people accept things without looking at the facts. So, next time, somebody, please, come with something better than, design, unless you actually advocate a Puritan position. Because, you're going to come out with me with design and purpose, then you're going to have to advocate nothing less than, missionary only. Because he still try to, say, you can do it for this or whatever, and still say it's, against design. Well, you can't have it both ways. So I'm done here. I hope my little rant against these bigots was very educating, or a good waste of your time, maybe. Remember, folks, rationality is the path to righteousness.